Welcome everyone to this year's first NIM community call. It is lovely to see you all. It's been a while, so we've been sort of cutting back on community calls for a little bit. I was very busy, but one of my New Year commitments is to bring a community call every week, no matter what. Maybe if I die or I'm sick, maybe I won't, or if I'm very busy. But the general goal is to bring a community call for you every single week. Now, there are also some changes that are happening, but first of all, let me introduce myself for those of you who may not know me, because I never do this. Another New Year's resolution is I'm going to be introducing myself every single call. I am Sudo, aka Simon. I am head of community and lead of customer support at NIM. Um, and this community call is brought to you by NIM, the producers of NymVPN. Excellent project, if I do say so myself. Hopefully, you're enjoying my background. It's nice to see you, Rocio. Also Diana and Uncle M in the chat. Long time no see. So let's talk a little bit about what is changing about community calls, because we thought a new format was in order. New year, new us. So I'll first talk about that a little bit. Just know that everything that's happening today is very experimental. We may change or remove or add things as we go, but here's what we have so far. So one of the things that will change is that many episodes will probably be solo. It will only be me. So if you're already sick of my voice, then apologies. But getting a guest for like a whole 1 hour call, it's sometimes very complicated for the guest, and it can be hard. So we will do some of those as well, but most of those, the 1 hour long conversations with guests, will happen as noise to signal radios. Which is going to be our podcast, which we may not even live stream, but maybe we will record and then share. So that's going to be for conversations. As for these community calls, these are basically just getting back to their roots. They are just about us hanging out together, having a bit of fun. They're interactive, so as usual, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on your on the chat and on your questions and messages, and I'm going to be responding to them. There is going to be a Q&A at the end of this, of course. And we are going to have sometimes guests on, but for shorter segments. So, 10, 15 minutes just to talk about a specific topic, mostly people from the NIM team. And otherwise, we're going to be doing a news roundup. This news roundup will both cover some news items from our privacy news roundup that we publish every week, and also some NIM related items, such as what's coming in NymVPN releases, maybe, updates on ongoing votes when it comes to NIM network governance, and a bunch of other cool stuff like that. And then we're also going to be doing some games. So the game that we have today is going to be just a trivia game. You're going to be playing in the chat. So get ready, because there are going to be some cool prizes for those of you who are very sharp and know a lot. But we're open to suggestions for any of this stuff. So whether it's the games that we should play together in this format, or maybe the news items, maybe you have some news happening in your region which is very relevant to privacy, make sure to let us know, and I will also tell you where to let us know. Basically, when this community call happens, shortly after, we will create a thread on the NIM forum where we will discuss the next community call. We're going to link that on the usual channels. So you're going to get a link to that on Matrix and Telegram and Discord and all of that good stuff. And you can come there, even to select my background. I hope you like this one. This is one of my personal favorites. But if you have some nice backgrounds that I should be using, then make sure to send those there as well. If you have some big news, especially in your region, that are big news in the privacy scene, let us know. If you have, game ideas that we should play together, make sure to let us know. And this will be a proper community project, back to the roots. No more long form conversations, at least not here with external guests, but actually just you guys and I hanging out, which I missed a lot. So it's very, very lovely to see you all here. All right, looking at the chat, no questions so far. So I'm just going to get into first our news roundup. I only brought you 3 stories this week. These are all external stories, basically, from around the world. And once again, before we move on to the next slide, I wanted to mention that I noticed that a lot of our news coverage, the stuff that we report on, is very Western centric. Obviously, I live in Europe. I speak English and Hungarian. I keep an eye on whatever happens in the West, and most of the stuff that is reported in Western media is Western things, right? Western happenings. Today I have well, one story that is actually not that Western. We looked for one of those, but we have the other two stories are from the UK and the US, respectively. I do want to change this, but it's kind of difficult. Um, so if you have any news stories that you think is worthy from your region specifically, then make sure to send it to us so that we can make it like a truly global privacy news roundup. All right, with that, let's jump into the first story. Where do I change slides? All right, so privacy news. First story, links will be in the chat. So if you want to read on, which you should, especially in the case of the second story, which I'm going to get to in a bit, then just look in chat or on the NIM forum, we're also going to be posting a bit of a summary with the show notes, which you can read. So as a rare win, we want to start the year with a win. So as a rare win for the privacy movement, the UK government, after some major backlash, ended up dropping their plans for mandatory digital ID for work purposes in the UK. So this, I think it's part of like a series of reversals and back and forths from the UK government. But basically, the plan was to create a digital ID system and to require like tighter control and these digital ID checks for workers, to control for immigration and all of that good stuff. At least that was the sort of the Trojan horse that they used, at least in my opinion. The real plan, of course, seems to be in many regions these years, and especially in the past, like in the recent past, is to create digital ID systems and make sure that that their use is mandated. So the the UK government backed out of this. So when the system launches, this is going to be in around 2029. Not only the digital ID, but also other documents like digital documents such as biometric passports and e-visas and stuff like that will also be enough that they can be used. Now, mind you, the article, if you read it, what it doesn't say is that digital ID as a whole is going away, because it's not. But it is not going to be used to check workers, for permits and stuff like that, which is already great. That's all there is to it. Hopefully, yep, the link from BBC is in the chat already, so if you want to read on, you can. Now, next up is a much less happy and much less Western story. So, for those of you who haven't heard, in late 2025, some major unrest broke out in Iran. First, it was kind of limited, but then it quickly grew into a proper what I think we can call a revolution, which is understandable. So Iran's currency imploded over the past, especially the second half of 2025. Obviously, you know that the Iranian regime is very oppressive, and there have been some protests as a result of that earlier as well. But this one was mostly an economic one, so people have actually on an ongoing basis very serious problems with water shortages and also just general cost of living. And very, very serious economic troubles. So as this movement grew into what we can, I think, call a revolution, what Iran did, which they did many times and which we can observe around the world as well, they shut down the internet. So they severely limited internet access of their people. Now, according to the latest news, we have a really good guess of why they did this. So there are around 12,000 people already killed as part of this revolution, which is absolutely horrific. So my heart goes out to everyone affected by this. But this gives us a good chance to look at how this type of internet shutdown works and how it happens. Now, if you want to see our expert, our internet censorship expert, Jack Wempler, who you may know from previous community calls, have like a bit of a chat with me maybe next week about this topic, I would love that. So let me know, because obviously a lot of the stuff that stuff that this blog post that we're going to be referencing talks about is a bit of like technical mumbo jumbo for me, and it would be very nice to have an expert break this down. But we have a very nice like window into how such an internet shutdown works and what happens when the internet is shut down in this way. And my unfortunate prediction for this year is that this will probably happen more and more as the world is becoming more and more unstable. So here are some key facts. Again, I really, really highly recommend reading this blog post. This came out from Cloudflare, who obviously is, for better or for worse, is a huge part of the backbone of the internet these days. So they have very good like data collection capabilities, and they are reporting some very interesting stuff. So a short summary is that first, in late December, there were no shutdowns, but starting January 8th, basically internet traffic from Iran towards the broader internet went to almost zero. Yeah. Wait a second, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, so the full although the full shutdown happened on the 8th of January, or as of the 8th of January, and is still in effect a week later, the overall amount of internet traffic already started dropping before in late December from Iran. And what happened here from a technical sense, now I don't fully understand this, maybe you guys do, so let me know what this means. But the Iranian networks withdrew most of their IP address announcements, dramatically reducing both IPv6 and overall internet traffic throughout the day before falling to almost no connectivity. So what happens here is through the limiting of global internet access, the government can hide what is happening, which is a massive and horrible crackdown on their population. Yep, I'm not going to go into this any further. Make sure to check out the blog post. There are a lot of really, really good details about how the shutdown was implemented. And moving on to our last news story outside of the NIM universe, which is something that you may already have heard about. This was making the rounds. So this one is from the United States. As it turns out, the US basically unwillingly shared a lot of personal data with people through a system called Flock. Now, what is Flock? So Flock is this camera system, which is very controversial, and if you ask me, this is one of the prime examples of some absolutely dystopian technology in action today, already in use, in wide use, especially in the States. It is a camera system. Both individuals and also governments and organizations can buy these cameras and then install them. And once these are installed, these cameras constantly scan all passing vehicles. So they have like a view on the street, and they scan all passing vehicles, and they collect their license plates and the time of date and the location of the scan, of course. And then this is put in this huge centralized database. And the U.S. police likes to use this for various types of investigations into suspects. They search this license plate database. And what happens here basically is that, my understanding at least, is that these searches were these searches are a big matter of like public interest. Obviously, people want to understand what the police searches this database for, which is, as you understand, it's like a pretty big, sensitive database, which impacts a lot of people. Everybody who's in a car and drives by one of these cameras, basically. And the police, under the Freedom of Information Act, which in the United States allows people to basically submit these requests for information from the government, which if it's information in the public interest, the government agency is mandated to give out. Now, a lot of this data that was now released came through these FOIA, this Freedom of Information requests, but it was not redacted properly. So now there are basically millions of these search requests from the U.S. police are available. There is this website which is called Have I Been Flogged, which collected all of this information, publicly available information, by the way, on a single website, and then this on this website, basically you can track people moving across cities and states. They did this to demonstrate, how horrible this information existing out there is, whether it's public or not. And instead of fixing the unredacted release of this information, what ended up happening is Flock, the company making these cameras, ended up threatening the company who made the website, the Have I Been Flogged website. They started all kinds of frivolous actions against the website, claiming that it's a public safety risk and various other ways. and wanted to get it off the internet, which ended up not working out. So yeah, I think this is a really good story that illustrates why, especially in the hands of private companies, but I guess it doesn't even matter whether it's private companies or public organizations. This kind of information should not really exist in such a searchable database, because the this kind of leak, leak which affects a whole lot of people, is always a possibility when we collect this kind of information and throw it all in a big centralized database. And I think, as a last thing, I will say, once again, I don't want to make this too dark. This is a community call, and this is about us hanging out together and having a bit of fun. But this type of stuff, AI-based surveillance and face recognition and all of that, is coming to a camera near you, I think, in the coming years, which is definitely not great news. And I think we should be keeping an eye on these stories and push back wherever we can to make sure that the right legislation is passed, so that these kind of abuses cannot happen in the future. All right. Next up, from here, all good stuff, I promise. So now we'll talk a little bit about NymVPN and some upcoming features. I will be doing my best to bring you anything that's interesting and exciting about NymVPN, or also the Nym network. I'm going to be doing my best to bring you that stuff to these calls every single week. Now, there are two things we wanted to show you this week. Actually, one is a call to action, which we would like you guys to help us and the developers of the NymVPN on OpenWRT package with. But first, we're going to show you something which at first you may not understand why we're so excited about. This is the new onboarding flow of NymVPN. It's a bit too fast. I hope you can see it. Tell me in chat if you can see it properly. Okay, so I'm going to show you this first part. This first part is the important part. I'm going to tell you in a second why. It's a bit too fast, but basically, what's just a peek behind the curtains. When it comes to like creating this application and getting into the hands of people. VPNs, a good VPN is very simple. It gets out of your way, right? And it shows you just some very simple options. That's a good VPN, right? It has to get out of the way. And as a result, a VPN, whether it's our VPN or any other VPN, they look very similar, right? And it's a bit of a head scratcher when someone is installing NymVPN, which is a pretty unique VPN, right? It does some things that no other VPNs do. How do you expose this information for someone who maybe just found the app in an app store and doesn't know anything about it? How will they know that it's not just like all the other VPNs that they saw, but it's different in some key ways? So that's why this onboarding flow was created. Basically, again, it's a bit too fast, so I'm going to show you again. But it shows. It's impossible to read these. We're gonna release this video in a bit of like a slower play, but it explains the key privacy features basically of NymVPN. So this is anonymous payments, the fact that it's decentralized, and a few others. And this is I'm really excited about this because it solves a real problem that we've been having, or it's not a big problem, but a head scratcher that we've been working on, how to, in a simple way, without like a lot of text or without like a 1 hour call like this one, expose in a very simple and easy to understand way to the average novice user what makes us different, what are the key selling points of NymVPN. So yeah, this is coming, which is great. And next up is a call to action, also a little bit of an announcement. If you're not keeping a close eye on the Nym forum, then you may not know that we recently, a few months back, we put out a call to create a package of NymVPN on OpenWRT. Now, for those of you who don't know what OpenWRT is, it's a really, really cool open source project. And okay, let's start from the basics. When you get a router from your internet service provider, it has an operating system, right? Just like your computer and your smartphone does. This operating system is often very limited, right? And so limited in functionality, especially for power users. And also you don't necessarily know what's in it, right? But OpenWRT on supported routers, not all routers supported, but some do. And on those routers, you can install this operating system, which opens up a whole host of very advanced features, such as I think traffic shaping. I know pfSense, which is a similar but different operating system, has traffic shaping. I'm not sure about OpenWRT, but the fact of the matter is that it just opens you up for a whole bunch of very advanced features, regardless of how much you paid for that router. So that's a really really good thing. And also it's an free and open source operating system, which is of course developed and audited by its community. So it's really really cool stuff. And one of the things I can assure you, as someone who is in close touch with the NIM community, you guys, and also with our customers, because I also lead the customer support team. One of the most common feature requests we got for NymVPN is for people to be able to put NymVPN on an OpenWRT router. What this means is that if you put NymVPN on your phone, then your phone will be protected. But if you put it on your home router, then all devices connected through that router will be protected with all the privacy properties that NymVPN brings. So obviously, this is a really, really cool, really, really cool initiative. And we ended up putting out a community like a grant call for this. So that happened a few months back, and of course, our beautiful friends at DialOut, CodeZM and Hans, if you know those guys, old members of the NIM community, they started working, and actually now this package is available. So if you happen to have a router that supports OpenWRT, we're asking you to help the devs DialOut test it, because obviously this is a brand new package, right? It probably has some irons to, or some kinks to iron out. So make sure to test it for us. Let us know how it works. Any features that you would like to see added, please make sure to let us know. And just in general, please help us test it, because this is something that if it works and if it's good, then we'll definitely be on a lot of people's routers, which I think is really exciting. So I was very happy to see this. Big thanks for DialOut, or to DialOut, for creating this. Also pretty short notice, so pretty quick work there. And let's see how it functions, and let us know if you have any feedback for us. I think, yes, the forum thread was shared with you in chat, where this is being discussed. If you want to directly speak to the developers, ask any questions, or share feedback with them, maybe bug reports, then you can do that on that thread on the NIM forum. So big thanks for that. Moving on to game time. All right, so as I think maybe at first, I don't know if we played any games before on community calls, but we are going to do this going forward. Every single time we will play some kind of game. And this time around, we will have a bit of a NIM-related trivia game. So get your pens ready. I'm going to explain how the rules will work on this one. So basically, you will be answering in chat. I think both Twitch and YouTube participants can answer the questions in chat, and the first good answer counts. Maybe the first couple, I don't know yet quite. I make the rules, so I will decide later. But the point is, we're gonna be asking you a question. You will have some time to put the answer in chat, and the first correct answer will be the one that counts, right? We will have 3 or 4 questions. Remind me, Salazar. Yeah, I think it's going to be 4. We could do Kahoot as well. Maybe next time we'll do Kahoot. That's a good idea, Rocio. We did look into Kahoot Premium recently, but we ended up not buying it. But maybe we will. So actually, we'll see. For the time being, we're left with the YouTube and Twitch chats. If you're watching on Twitch, so what we're going to do is show you a question. Answer as fast as you can, because speed will matter, right? And I'm going to be picking the winner. I'm going to be fair for the most part, I promise. All right. The overall winner, who got the most points, will get some pretty cool gifts. So first of all, you'll get some points in the NIM Squad League, which hopefully everybody's very, very happy about. And also, later on, we didn't create a special PO-up this time around. We may do that. But the other thing that we'll definitely get for sure is a badge on the NIM forum. So this brings to my last point. To participate, you will need a NIM forum account, basically. So if you're not registered on the NIM forum yet, then please do that. This was the simplest way to do this game. And then the winner and maybe a runner-up will be asked to send their forum username here, and that's how we will contact you in a DM on the forum. Make sure to check who the DM is coming from. It has to come from Salazar, our beloved Salazar, or myself. And also just know that by this, you expose the connection between your YouTube handle and your forum account. We're a privacy project, so I have to tell you this. But both of these are public, so hopefully that's no issue. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? Ready for the first question? Drum roll. All right, let's go. Wait, let me put myself in the corner first. All right, question 1. Which NymVPN feature came first? I will give you some time to answer. I will tell you that it was either a bit tricky or my memory is just very, very bad, but I first got this wrong. So it's kind of embarrassing, but we're amongst friends, so I can tell you. Which of these came first? A, kill switch, B, split tunneling, C, quick transport mode, or D, support IPv6 toggle? Just put A, B, C, or D in chat. Which of these came first? I'll repeat. Kill switch, split tunneling, quick transport mode, support IPv6 toggle. Toggle, I should say, yes. So exciting. There is a bit of delay in the right, A, D. All right, I see the first right answer. I will let you guys respond. Okay, so ready for the correct answer? It's A, the kill switch. And a lot of people said D, which is very reassuring to me because I also thought that the IPv6 toggle was first. So I messed up. The first correct answer is Kaolam. Opa, sorry. Yeah. And actually, Diana also got it right. And then Rocio corrected to the right one. But that won't fly here, Rocio. You have to get it right the first time. So 1 point for Kaola. Congratulations. Kaolam, sorry. Yeah. Yep. But there are more questions, so don't worry. You can still catch up. Be very close to your keyboard. And let's get to the next one. Question 2. All right. So what do we call the data about your communications? So the who, the when, the where. It's a word. Put it in chat real quick, so I'll repeat the question. What do we call the data about your communication? So the who, the when, the where. All right, first answers coming in. Ooh, I'm now in a pickle. I'm now in a pickle because technically Uncle Lem was the first correct answer because the correct answer is, drum roll, metadata, of course. I'm very, very happy to see that most of you knew this. Now, Uncle Lem gave the first answer, the correct answer, but then we have to complete it ourselves. Metadata, that's the whole word. So what do we do here? Do we accept this? or do we not? And in that case, Rocio was the quickest. Was the quickest. What do we do? What do we do? You know what? I will appoint a person to decide, and it's gonna be Beyond. What should we do? Who's the winner? You're the tiebreaker. Uncle first. All right, we'll accept Uncle then. Very close second is Rocio. Actually, you know what? I'm announcing a tie instead. Sorry, I'm overriding. I make the rules. Remember. So I'm announcing a tie. This is both Rocio and also Uncle. So congratulations. You were first, and also congratulations to Bikram and Diana and SM Abdullah, and also Beyond. And who else gave me the correct answer? Yeah, I think that's all the correct answers we got. Congratulations, you were all correct. Just be quicker next time. All right, so next up is question 3. Are we ready? Are we ready? Very exciting, I know. Everybody's on the edge of their seats. I'm also on the edge of my seat. Question 3. The system that translates domain names into IP addresses is... I'll repeat the question. The system that translates domain names into IP addresses is... What could be that system? Let me see in chat. Very exciting. My palms are sweaty now. The stakes are very high. Very, very high. Ooh. A rogue... Wait, oh, no, actually, Uncle M was first, but they literally came at the same exact second, these answers. I have the timestamp here next to them to the second. Wow, okay, that was very close. So the correct answer is, of course, domain name system, which is DNS. And I have to say that Uncle Lem was first. He's a very, very fast person. Maybe you should rename yourself to maybe, I don't know, something to do with lightning. Uncle Lightning. Could you do that? I think it would be fun. But again, a rogue rodent, very nice name, by the way, was, I don't even know if it's a close second. Again, the timestamp is the exact same on my side. So that was very, very quick. And then Abdullah was just a few seconds off. Then Beyond was yet another few seconds off. But this was a very, very close race, ladies and gentlemen. So... a rogue rodent. You're the winner with the first correct answer. Congratulations. All right, moving on to the next question, the last one. Are we ready? The last question is, encrypted traffic still exposes packet X and Y. What are the two things that encrypted traffic is still exposing? Final question. Big drum roll. All right, some answers started rolling in. Very good, very good. I'll let you answer before I reveal the proper answer. All right, I think it's time. I think it's time to do the big reveal. The correct answer is timing and size. And once again, At the exact same second, a Rogue Rodent and Uncle Lem gave the first answer, and then Abdullah was also correct. IP metadata. Actually, so I'll be honest. Okay, when I saw this question, I thought it may not be the best question because I think there are like different correct answers. Metadata is one of those that are correct. Um, Date and time, Bikram. I mean, that's also correct. So data. Oh no, sorry, no, that's data and time. That's not correct. Just the time part. So the winner is, drum roll, a Rogue Rodent. I have to give it to you again. Congratulations, very very quick, very very quick. But once again, it's timed with Uncle Lem. So actually, this is a tie. And you know what, Abdullah? You were very close, multiple times. So, Abdullah, you're runner-up as the third. So please send your name forum usernames in chat, and then we can get in touch with you and get you some truly exquisite, outstanding, exclusive gifts and presents. So congratulations. Now we can all just relax a little bit. The race is over. Big thanks for everyone to everyone for participating. Excellent, excellent stuff all over. Oh, damn! I revealed the path. You know what? Now I can do that. I didn't know that was next. So, your password for claiming the POAP for today's exquisite community call is going to be 2026, which is, as we know, the biggest year ever. So, welcome to 2026. Welcome to the NIM community call. And now we'll get into, because I should have swapped these around, but again, this is all experimental, ladies and gentlemen. Don't take it too seriously. I should have swapped around the slides, and I wanted to do the Q&A and add the slide for that. So now we'll actually do that. Here's a bigger rendition of my beautiful face in this excellent background. And I'm gonna look for questions in chat. You can still ask your questions if you have any. All right, so question from Uncle M. Any thoughts, insights about marketing starting? It's not related to the crypto world. I'm asking more about traditional world, housewives, TikTokers, Roblox players, YouTube watchers, etc. I am not sure what you mean here. Marketing starting. So you're talking about NymVPN, right? Starting marketing NymVPN towards normies, such as housewives and TikTokers and Roblox players. Wait, let me check the chat. The cat. It's not about feeding. She wants to go out. You know what? I will let the cat out. Just 1 second. Yep. She's out now. All right. So it is actually happening. So we're doing a bunch of advertising towards. I can't tell you whether we're targeting housewives exactly or TikTokers, but the general public, right? So you may have run into ads on Google Play, for example, for NymVPN. Still very much, testing the channels, which one gives us the best return on investment, and we are marketing NymVPN towards people, and we do also see user growth from all kinds of like segments and groups. I will say though that what I would personally want to see, and hopefully it will also happen, and I can bring you all kinds of funky updates in the future, is a bit more. So NIM is very fundamentally a crypto VPN. Not only, I don't want it to be only the crypto VPN, but it does come from like a cypherpunk background, a very strong cypherpunk background, we run on a decentralized network, which is well, there are a few other examples, but it's very rare. It's one of our key differences, right? And I want us to like also double down on that. I'm not saying that we should focus only on the crypto audience, but I do want to make you guys happy, for those from the crypto space who are here. So yeah, that's also something we're gonna do. Marketing is ongoing. That's the short answer to your question. Hopefully, that's a good one. All right. One question from Bikram. So, what's the user base size of NymVPN? Positive feedback is growing everywhere. I think I cannot answer the first question. I think I was told that this is not a good idea to talk about publicly because of competitors. I can ask around in the team though and ask if that's still our position. I know the number; it's a pretty good number for a startup that we are. We've seen some significant user growth in 2025. So what I can talk about though is positive feedback. So obviously, I am keeping a very close eye on both community stuff. Although I have to admit that I've been a bit away from community channels. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions, that I'm going to be hanging out more in Telegram and Discord. So stay tuned for that, because I've been absent for way too long, with too much to do. But what I have definitely kept a very close eye on over 2025 was customer support, right? And the type of issues and the frequency of issues, even as our user numbers were growing, right? We got fewer and fewer tickets with less and less serious issues. So it's very nice to see that now NymVPN is a very good shape, and we are getting a ton of positive feedback. So that was very, very nice to see. Obviously, during launch, in March, we had kind of kinks to iron out. Still, it was a very new application, and there's no way for you to think about those in advance. It's just not possible. Everybody in software development knows this. But now all of those, the vast majority of the big ones have been ironed out. There's still, of course, there's always, it's not, we call software a product, but it's actually not. All software is a process, right? If you don't improve, then you become irrelevant very quickly. But now it's more just iterations, adding new features and stuff like that, and no major issues need to be fixed. So that's excellent to see. 2026, I have to say, I can feel it in my bones. It's going to be a huge year for Nym. I hope I will have some stuff to announce, which I already know about, but I can't talk about yet. I hope I can announce it soon. But definitely, stay tuned for some pretty big announcements over the course of the year. And just in general, I can feel in my bones that it's going to be a big year for Nym and NymVPN, and also by extension to the community. Thanks for the question, Bikram. Hopefully that was a good enough answer. Now from Capital H2T. Why can't I pronounce that? Thanks for a good question. When will the new NSL season begin? All right, let me. Yeah. Okay. So just a quick note on how NSL works. We have the seasonal structure, right? Seasons end and seasons begin, and all of that stuff, just to give it some kind of like a cyclical structure. But it doesn't mean that you can't contribute. So right now we're off season, but that doesn't mean that everything stops and you can't do work. So you can, if you have any contributions, make sure to put those on the forum. Or if you want to request a grant for something, you have some kind of a proposal, make sure to also post that. But for the time being, we are still closing the previous season. We're creating the report and whatnot. Actually, Salazar, can you give me a timeline for that here in our private chat, or maybe even in the public chat? Okay, so the report is coming out this week, which means basically the previous season is going to be closed this week, and then shortly after, and I think next week we're going to be launching the new season. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for the question, Capital. Do we have any other questions? All right, I can't see any other questions. So I'm going to be still keeping an eye on the chat in case during my closing, my outro, uh, there are any questions. But basically, this is our new take on a community call. We're gonna be iterating on this as we go. We're gonna add new segments. Feel free to suggest segments. Once again, please keep an eye on the NIM forum because all of this stuff is gonna be discussed on the NIM forum. So keep an eye there if you have any ideas for good games that we could play in this format. Any segments that you would want to see, and especially privacy related news items that you want to talk about. You can also request guests. If you want to see someone from the NIM team back to talk about something, then also let me know. So we're going to be working on this together. Hopefully you enjoyed this new format. We found. I personally find it to be a bit more exciting than the previous format. And then also stay tuned for some bigger, maybe one a month, maybe once every 2 months, some bigger, long-winded conversations, such as the community calls used to be, with higher production quality, and maybe recorded offline. And those going to be our more podcast-like, less interactive episodes. Any feedback is highly welcome. Once again, Happy New Year to all of you. I see a question. Wait, Sudo, tell honestly your humble opinion. Okay, so Uncle M is asking, Sudo, tell honestly your humble opinion. Who are you going to award as the NymVPN core team MVP, except from yourself and Harry? Okay. Core team MVP. Wow. So there are a lot of contenders to that. Okay, is that a 2025 MVP or general MVP all time? This year. 2025 MVP. Damn. Actually, the MVP has to be, drum roll, once again, has to be Salazar, ladies and gentlemen. So Salazar is kind of shy. You do see him popping up a lot, in all kinds of community channels, and you see him, you know about him, but you have no idea how much he's been doing for this project. So he's been on my team for I don't even know how many years now, and I am just like overwhelmingly grateful to have such a great great guy working in this team. We did some huge things together, not just this past year, but also previous years. There is something major that is coming this year, which I still can't talk about yet. But that will also be like a big effort from Salazar and myself. So my MVP, and sorry, rest of the NIM team, there were a lot of strong contenders. This was a difficult question, but it has to be Salazar. All right, one more question from Bikram. Thanks for the question, Bikram, and thanks for the question, Uncle M. Hopefully, it was a satisfactory answer. All right, so Bikram asks, do you think the VPN industry is going to be bigger than the crypto industry? I mean, 2024, 2025, VPN growth is pretty massive, and it's 2026. What's your prediction? Well, bigger than crypto? I don't think so. So no matter what happens to, for example, Bitcoin, right? Whether you believe the crypto maxis or just people who are on board with the vision and believe in crypto, or you ask the pessimists or whatever, I think Bitcoin is not going anywhere from here, right? And Bitcoin's current market cap, what is it? It's trillion. I guess it's at least a trillion, right? Let me just check real quick. BTC market cap is yeah, no, 2 trillion. Now BTC is high. Let's say BTC drops, I don't know, to 25% of what it is right now, which is like close to $100K. Let's say it drops back to 25K. Even then, it's a $500 billion, and that's just BTC, right? 500. Let's assume BTC stays around, drops to 25%, and the rest of the industry goes away, right? Even then, VPNs would be hard pressed to to be bigger than that. So my opinion is that if you're asking, market cap to market cap, um, whether it's going to be bigger than crypto, it can't be, right? But it definitely is. Not only just VPNs, but all privacy technology, and also the general privacy awareness, and just um, yeah, privacy is becoming huge in people's mind space right now, given all that's going on in the world, all around the world now. So I don't even need to give you examples. It's huge. So it's absolutely enormous. And my prediction, it's more than an educated guess. I'm pretty sure I would bet money on this continuing. I'm not happy about this in one way, because it's just like like a um, it's yeah, it's because the world is getting increasingly bad, and that's very sad, and I don't think that will stop anytime soon. But on the other hand, I'm really happy that some of the things that we've been fighting for at nim, and some people like much like way before, many decades before I ever joined this fight, have been fighting for, such as Claudia, such as Harry, Jaya, and others, are now top of mind and becoming like increasing, not just these niche things that a bunch of people in hoodies, um, in some dark rooms are talking about, but it's becoming, everybody starts understanding that it's now or never, and whether we achieve privacy or not is basically going to be, or make sure that privacy is a thing that is guaranteed to us. This is going to be decided in the coming 10 years tops, and there's a big the stakes are very, very high. So I'm happy about that, actually. All right, what else? Did we get any other questions? We still have 8 minutes, so another one from Uncle Lem. Oh, no, sorry, this we've already seen. Any other questions? All right, so next question from Bikram. Ready for an unpopular take? What's the post-quantum threat? Is it scary? Bikram is asking. Thanks for the question, Bikram. I feel like I have a different view on this than most people you would ask. In my opinion, quantum computers are nowhere close. So like they are just nowhere close. There's a lot of hype around quantum computers, but functional quantum computers, where the noise problem, so the error correction problem is solved, and there are like a high enough number of qubits to do actual things with, right? They are very, very far away. So we keep hearing, every year we hear that this is going to be the year of quantum, or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. In actuality, I just don't buy that. If you look at some very high quality short groups who make a living of shorting companies and calling out bullshit claims and like over exaggerated marketing claims, and just yeah, so some high quality shorting groups who do some great research. A lot of them blew the whistle on. I can send some links after, maybe in the forum. I will find some links. One of those is Wall Street Millennial. I really like their work, and yeah, I just after reading their stuff and watching some podcasts about this, I just don't believe that quantum computing is nearly as close as they make it out to be. So in my personal opinion, the quantum threat could be scary, right? But it's not even close right now. It's not even close. It's I will also add that the quantum threat is not just something that will come at one point and then it's here, but the other thing to keep in mind when it comes to the development and use of quantum computers, when that happens, it's not only a risk going forward, right? So that all encryption will be broken and everything will collapse. That's one thing. But the other thing is that uh, there's some evidence that some people have been claiming. I don't know if this is true or not, but I sort of believe it, that a lot of the traffic on the internet is like encrypted traffic on the internet is just like wholesale, like vacuumed up and is stored mostly in like these huge like tape-based servers, like backup servers, and it's just like collected like in cold storage, like everything that happens on the internet basically, or close to everything that happens on the internet, encrypted, not encrypted, doesn't matter. And once you have quantum computers, everything that was encrypted prior to everything that was encrypted with encryption methods that are not quantum proof will be broken, like not just today but also all the archived stuff. So that's scary. I will have to give you that. But when that happens, I would I don't know, like there are much more burning issues for the time being. And if you ask me, I think mostly what we see on the quantum computer market is just a bunch of like corpo over promising and not a lot of actual substance and not a lot of actual use cases, or anything that is even barely usable. But I'm not a quantum physicist, and I'm not I was not there in those rooms where they were testing these machines, the latest ones. But anyways, that's my answer. Sorry, it was a pretty long one. Hopefully a good one though. Thanks for the question, Bikram. Next up is Rocio, and I think this is going to be the last question we'll have time for today. But a good old Rocio question has to make it to the very first community call of 2026, because we would not have it any other way. Thanks for the question, Rocio. Surveillance is becoming more sophisticated with AI. Do you think technology can be developed to protect us from that type of surveillance? Well, that's a tricky one, right? I'm not sure what type of AI surveillance you're talking about. Whether it's the things like facial recognition, or license plate collection, like license plate, yeah, collection that is happening, such as we found out from the Flux story earlier, or something else. I feel like when we talk about AI surveillance, we're often not very specific about what we mean. I feel like we don't even know some of the possible like privacy ramifications of AI being a thing. So we're gonna do some thinking about this over the year, on calls like this one, and we're gonna have some experts on to discuss this, because I think it's a very interesting topic. In general, I feel like a technology, from one perspective, right, uh, such as the NIM network, is we're fundamentally built basically to combat AI surveillance. So yes, that's a yes. But is it a like an overwhelming yes in each and every case and for all types of AI surveillance? I don't think so. I don't think we know what AI surveillance does and can look like yet. I think there are a lot of people thinking about that right now, how AI can be used in these ways. I don't think we have proper solutions for like, for example, facial recognition everywhere. Like if that so that will what I'm saying is that likely this kind of stuff will not be solved from a technological perspective, but mostly a legislative perspective. So that's what you need to ban facial recognition from private from public spaces. Um, like if you want like a proper functioning democracy, which is also safe from overreach, then that kind of tech can just not be around. And if you ask me, what we're seeing around the world, obviously there are worse and better examples, but this is not what the world is going towards. Sorry, guys, I disconnected for a second. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Sorry. So I think the solution will not be a purely technological one, but it's going to be legislation, activism, plus technology all together. And I feel like we're not even close. So there's a lot of work to be done still. Hopefully, that's a call to action rather than like a big downer answer for this last one, because this was the last one for today. Big thanks everyone for joining me today. Again, I would really appreciate your feedback about this new format. It was lovely to hang out. I was looking forward to this finally happening, because I've been neglecting community calls last year for good reasons, but still, um, I also have a special guest joining us just for the final few minutes. This is the cat of my girlfriend's mom. I don't know which one. I think it's Johnny. Johnny's a very curious young cat. So he also says hi. Thanks everyone for joining. Much love. And see you on the NIM forum. And see you on the next NIM community call. Same time, same channel. Every single week going forward. Happy 2026, everybody. Much love. Bye.